Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
In the peace officer business on the western frontier in 1877, a man made an odd assortment of friends. Marshal Wyatt Earp was no exception. But when Wyatt was alleged to be sponsoring the notorious Dr. John B. Holliday and his wife, Kate, the lid blew off.
But Wyatt, the man's a gambler and a killer.
And his wife makes trouble everywhere.
Folks are talking, Wyatt.
Yeah, mean talk. They just don't understand.
Wait a minute, will you? Now, you and our new mayor, Mr. Kelly, haven't given Judge Tobin a chance to say one word. What do you want to do, monopolize the whole Inquisition? Your turn, sir.
People like Doc Holliday and his wife are bound to embarrass you, Wyatt. Doc's every bit as bad as Ben Thompson, or worse. Remember all the trouble that Thompson caused you?
Yes, sir, but he isn't...
It's no use, Judge. He says Doc Holliday saved his life at Chancey's camp.
Thompson did you a favor like that once, but you finally had to run him out of town. Holliday took your part in a gunfight?
He slid his gun along the bar. Otherwise, I might have been cut in two with buckshot. Makes it kind of tough, Judge.
Yes, I can see that.
Listen, Wyatt. I owe you for saving my life a couple of times. But you wouldn't expect me to break my oath as sheriff if you turned outlaw?
No, I wouldn't. But Dr. Holliday hasn't stepped out of line since he got here, and I just can't run him out of town until he does.
Well, that won't be long.
You'll crack right down on him then?
I give you my word.
I just like to be cynical, Wyatt, but men like Holliday sometimes go out of their way to get a peace officer in their debt. Now, this isn't a matter of personalities or favors owed. We're starting what I hope will be a final drive to civilize this town. Doc Holliday doesn't belong here.
No, sir, I guess not. Is the meeting over?
For the present, at least.
Well, I guess I better tell you the main reason I kicked up this storm against Doc Holliday, huh? George Morris and his crowd is driving a big herd to Dodge.
You sure?
Yes, sir. I sure didn't think he'd have the gall after what we did to him last time.
Well, some of them never learn.
And that's why you can't afford to be having complications with Doc. Maybe a real fight coming.
I understand you, Sheriff. No complications with Dr. Holliday.
Just a second, Doc.
Mr. McDaniel, I haven't a second.
Now it's going to take a little longer. Shell out $100.
Why should I do that?
You cheated me last night.
If you have a gun, sir, you better go for it.
Get a doctor. Where's the doctor?
I'm a stranger here myself.
Doc Holliday, he shot me. You saw that? He shot me.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to arrest you, Doctor.
Oh? Did Aces McDaniel bleed to death?
No, but you shot him up pretty bad. He signed a complaint charging you with assault to kill.
Did he tell you he started drawing me first? What did the eyewitnesses say?
They say McDaniel accused you of cheating at cards and that you drew and fired.
Wasn't he carrying a gun?
He claims he was unarmed.
You believe that?
Did he have a gun?
Yes.
Where is it?
You're the marshal. I don't like the way you're handling the case. I said he had a gun. I'm not in the habit of having anybody question my word.
Now, look, Doctor. The witnesses didn't see a gun. McDaniel's ready to swear that he wasn't armed. What do you expect me to do?
Nothing. Take me to jail. I'm disappointed in you, Wyatt. Do you recall what La Rochefoucauld said?
No, sir.
He said it is necessary to live as one thinks. And man usually ends by thinking as he has lived. And you think too much like a policeman. Do you mind if I take my medicine along?
No, but put it under your coat.
Still hope for you, Wyatt.
Well, they were right about the doctor, huh?
I don't know.
Oh, come on, Marshal.
Dr. Holliday said that McDaniel had a gun. I think he's telling the truth.
Oh, where is the gun?
You know, I asked him that, and he got a little bit sore. I think he's acting cantankerous just to prove something.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself? How could you put the doctor in a cold, dirty cell?
Well,
have you no human kindness? A man at death's door.
Let's see you later, Wyatt.
Thanks. Mrs. Holliday, I told your husband that he could go free on bail, but he wouldn't put up the bond money.
Naturally. He's no criminal.
But he's got a criminal complaint against him.
Bosh. You're just trying to roust us out of town. Let's go, Wyatt.
Where?
To the doctor's cell. Taking him out of this dirty place. And don't try any tricks. I'll shoot.
I'm sure you would, Mrs. Holliday. But I don't think you're acting very smart.
I'm not a smart woman. I just love my husband. I'm wasting time. His cough is worse. Open that door.
Gun. The gun, my dear. Fully cocked. Allah's good to you, sir.
John, what are you doing?
I knew you'd come, Katie. I can always count on you. But I gotta stay in jail this time.
Why?
Marshal Earp interests me. He's intelligent. I'm bored and I want to study him.
But, John, this cell's not clean. It's drafty. And you can't lie on that lumpy bunk.
Look, why don't you change your mind and post bail?
Yes, let me hire a lawyer.
No, Katie, you go on back to the hotel.
I've got to do it. Otherwise, he'll leave me like he did in Dallas.
That's right, Katie. See you in the morning, my dear.
Have you got enough medicine?
Well,
Oh, here. Take enough to keep you warm. Wait.
Of course, my dear. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, darling. All cell doors must be locked at once. The hard, unthinking fist of Johnny Law. Why didn't you arrest Mrs. Holliday for attempted jailbreak?
Because I pity her.
Why?
She's married to you.
So do I. But I didn't think of pity as one of your emotions.
Well, there's a lot you don't know about my emotions, Doctor. Why don't you tell me about McDaniel's gun?
Why should I? You wouldn't take my word.
Look, you're coming up against Judge Tobin. He'll keep you in jail a long time. You trying to commit suicide? I've searched McDaniel's room and every bar for that gun.
You didn't search me.
No, I didn't. Turn around.
I believe you're worried.
Sure, I'm worried. I don't want a sick man put in jail if he can prove he acted in self-defense. Now, if you know where that gun is, why don't you tell me?
Your friends don't approve of us holidays.
Friends? What friends?
Masterson, Tobin, Kelly. Oh, you've got a lot of them.
That's not the point. We're talking about evidence. Vital evidence.
I'm talking about your friends. I don't like them, and I don't like you.
All right. If that's the way you want it.
That's just the way I want it. I'm going to make monkeys out of all of you in court.
Doctor, I await this with great interest. You know, the reason you hate everybody is that you hate yourself. You enjoy making enemies. Well, the worst enemy you ever made is yourself. I'll send you some more blankets.
You may step down. Dr. Holliday. You've heard the witnesses for the state. Have you testimony to present in your defense?
No, sir. Only an exhibit.
Very well. The court will examine the evidence.
The court darn well better. This is the gun McDaniel was carrying. I took it from him after I shot him. Wyatt Earp neglected to search me.
Indeed. Is that a fact, Marshal?
Yes, sir. He surrendered a .45, but I didn't search him for other weapons until after he was in jail.
The court cannot accept this evidence unless you can properly establish that the gun belonged to Mr. McDaniel.
Don't lecture me on the law, Judge. I think Mayor Kelly can identify the gun. McDaniel purchased it at his store about a month ago.
Mayor Kelly.
Speak up, Mayor. I haven't got all day.
It's the gun I sold McDaniel.
Wyatt Earp seems to have honest friends.
That will do. The court rules.
If the court please.
Well,
I wish to state that I hold hard feelings against all of you for this stupid blundering. I don't like Dodge City or anyone in it. But Mrs. Holliday and I are leaving this town at our own convenience, not yours. Now the court may rule, sir.
thank you.
You're welcome.
The court must accept Dr. Holliday's explanation of this affair. Case dismissed.
I don't hold any hard feelings, Mr. Earp. You did your best to persuade John to go free on bail, and you did look everywhere for that gun. So, let's shake hands.
Come on, Katie. What I said goes for my wife, too.
George Morris is coming after you again with a lot of his men, Mr. Earp.
Shut up.
Goodbye, Mr. Earp.
Goodbye, Miss Kate.
That stands to reason Morris and his men won't sneak into town the way they did last time. This will be Morris's last water stop before coming into Dodge. I vote to ride out there and take them before they ever hit town.
Well, what kind of a legal reason you going to give him?
Legal reason? Well, for Pete's sake, charge them with attempted murder. Shooting up Dodge, everything they did last time.
Well, you're the sheriff. They're still outside my jurisdiction.
You don't like it, huh?
Well, if I was the sheriff, I'd just ride out there to the water stop and kind of snoop around a little bit. I just wouldn't start a fight or ride into an ambush.
Well,
Morris can change his mind, you know. He can load at Railhead Junction, not even come into Dodge at all.
Well, Kate Holliday said he... you're right. It's smarter to scout the Morris outfit first. Sam, I'll take you and Emmett. Mike better stay in town, huh?
Yeah. I'll have a little talk with Mrs. Holliday when Doc isn't around.
Would she know anything?
Well, she might. She and Doc travel all over Texas.
Whose side is she on?
Well, I don't know that, Mr. Masterson, but I sure aim to find out.
It's Mr. Earp.
Oh, dear. Tell him I'll just be a moment.
Yes, Miss Holliday. She's getting fixed up. Take a chair.
Thank you.
Miss Holliday, you wait for me. You get a lace and all knotted up.
There. I'm out of it. Peggy, you take a walk. She listens and tells on me to the doctor.
Well, I do want this to be confidential. What you said about George Morris in court. Do you know just when he'll get to Dodge?
Oh, I meant to tell you that, only my husband... Morris is coming in this afternoon. They loaded at Railhead. A couple of cattle buyers were talking drunk at the Long Branch.
This afternoon?
Yes, that's what they said. The doctor didn't want me to mention it.
Yes, I know that. I do want to thank you. Doesn't give me much time to get ready.
Wait. I've got to tell you something else. Dr. Holliday's trying to hate you. I don't think he'd help Morris, but he might.
Does he know Morris?
Oh, sure. The doctor could have hired on with Morris at $1,000 a month.
Well, that's pretty good pay for a dentist.
Well, Morris didn't want him for that. He admires the doctor's gunfighting ability.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again, Miss Kate.
Don't mention it. I certainly hope my husband stays out of this fight.
So do I. Goodbye.
Well, let's straighten out the boys, Curly. Some of you will start a hoorah south of the line. The rest of us will move to trap Earp at the foot of Front Street.
You think you'll be sucker enough to head into Front Street, George?
I'm betting on it, Curly. Earp always heads straight for the sound of guns. I figure that we'll meet him at Nick's corner. He'll probably come out of the alley. Let's go.
Hal, I want you to tell all the other deputies on patrol where these guns will be. I want them to duck for cover and grab buckshot loads at the first sound of trouble.
Looks like it started, Wyatt.
Yeah. At firing south of the line. I'll duck down the alley, head for Nick's saloon. You meet me there as soon as you can.
Right.
George Morris and Curly Bill are coming down Front Street.
Not so loud.
Loud? Guns are going off, mister.
Shut up. I like to hear guns. Continue.
Sir, reach Johnny Law.
See, I'm limping, Earp. That's what you and Masterson done.
You had it coming.
Guess what you got coming to you.
Cut the gab, George. Shoot him.
No rush. I want to tell this mangy Johnny Law how stupid he is. Where do you want the first one?
Start shooting or I will.
No, he's mine. I'm going to cut the legs from under him the way he done to me. Then you can finish the job, Curly.
Drop him, George. Curly.
Doc Holliday, not you.
It's Wyatt Earp, Doc.
Don't shoot him, Wyatt. Drop your guns, or Wyatt might kill you this time.
Cut loose.
No. Not against Doc.
Pull that trigger. I want you to. Why did you hit him?
Because he'd have pulled the trigger.
And I'd have cut him in two. All body and no brains. What are you going to do with the rest of them?
Jail. Al, Bill, Don't worry about their guns. I'll get Nick's porter to put them in a gunny sack.
I'm thirsty.
Go on, cart them off.
I don't get it. Why did Doc make that play against Morris?
I don't know, Mr. Lovey.
You were lucky.
Yeah, I sure was. It's the closest I've ever come to cashing in my chips.
You should have let me empty both barrels at Curly. He isn't bad enough to be interested nor good enough to rise above mere thuggery.
Look, why don't you and I try to understand each other?
I understand you.
No, you don't. You think I'm going to try and roust you out of town?
That's what your friends want.
Well, that isn't going to make any difference. As far as I'm concerned, you and Mrs. Holliday can stay right on here in Dodge.
What am I supposed to say? Thank you?
No. I'll see you around.
Oh, no, you won't. My wife and I are leaving. You couldn't pay us enough to stay in this scurvy town. There's one point I want to make clear. You and I part enemies. Morris thought I was his friend. He knows better now.
And I think I know what's wrong with the doctor. His whole life, he's never had an even break. The war ruined his parents. Bad health ruined his career.
And he was just plain ornery to start with.
Yeah, I guess so. But look, do me this one favor, will you?
No, sir. I don't beg Doc Holliday to stay in Dodge.
I'm not asking you to beg him. You're the sheriff. All you got to do is say that as long as he behaves himself, that
Wyatt,
he can...
will you wait a
Look,
minute?
just say that you won't make things any tougher on him.
Wyatt, there's a devil in Doc Holliday, and he's got you in his debt again.
All right, so he's got me in his debt. But
Look,
that
he'll
doesn't
ask
mean
for
that...
payment, some favor you can't afford to do for him. You believe in gratitude, and Doc knows that. Look, will you take my advice this one time? Let Doc leave town and forget him.
Oh, Wyatt, Mrs. Holliday wants to see you at the hotel right away. She says Doc's having a bad time. He's awful sick.
She sent for Doc McCarty?
He was there when I talked to her.
Oh, Wyatt, how good of you to come.
Did Dr. McCarty see him?
Yes, he's got to stay in bed and rest for a month. And not touch a drop of whiskey. Of course, he cussed Dr. McCarty and...
Kitty! Kitty!
Yes, dear. Wyatt's come to see you.
I don't want to see why. I want my medicine. You bring me my medicine.
He means his whiskey. Now, what am I going to do? He won't take his milk, and I promised Dr. McCarty I'd...
Medicine! My medicine!
Whole town's betting you drink whiskey and die. George Morris has already bought your grave in Boot Hill. They're fighting in all the saloons for the privilege of acting as pallbearers. I wouldn't bet a dime on your chances myself. No, you go on back to that filthy poison. Swig the liquor down and die quick. They're digging your grave. Don't disappoint them. I'll see you about the funeral arrangements in the morning, Miss Kate.
Wyatt, will it be that soon?
The whole town's betting on it. Good night.
Buried there on Boot Hill.
John!
Shut up, Kitty. I'm doing this for a friend. To Marshal Wyatt Earp. Oh. Put me in Boot Hill, will they?
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may